All right, Shalom. Shalom. I want to start off with giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Dash. I want to say and give double honor to the apostles and the bishop elders, a great millstone for teaching his word in truth and sincerity and for ruling well. And salutations to the elect, salutations to my fellow Akim across the four corners of the globe, preaching and prophesying in the name of Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai. Hey, I'm my brother Gabar Yahweh from GMS Hawaii, coming to you with another quick lesson. And this lesson was inspired by this picture that you see right here in front of you, right? This woman that you see right here in front of you, her name was Toni Morrison, and she was a Nobel literate, meaning that she won a Nobel Peace Prize for her writings, and a lot of her writings were scandalous, salacious. She wrote these novels, you know, that so-called touched millions of people across the world, you know, and I saw this interview, I saw a clip, and I actually have the interview up here. Hopefully I can play it and I won't get a, what do you call it, a copyright, you know. Hey, what is it, fair use, you know, fair use. Because, you know, basically what she was saying when she went to college, she was a whore and she loved it. She loved being a slut. And then, like, she said she wasn't even a first pick. She'd be like the third. She compared herself to having a third beer. The first beer, you taste, it tastes good. The second one is just as good, but the third, you don't even taste it. It's just, you're just drinking just because it's there, you know. And she was one of those women, you know. She was a woman that came out of a household that was in order. She had her father and her mother, and they were pretty strict on her, as they should be, especially when you have a daughter. You know, you're not supposed to be, you know, playing with them and they're not your equals. You're not supposed to be coddling them for their every need. You're supposed to give children order, you know. And she went to college like most people. They go to college to get away from that structure, the strictness of their household. But what happened when she went to college? You know, she went to college and she was a whore, and she was proud about it. You know, she was proud about it. Woman got married later in life, had children, but yet she was doting over the fact, you know, that she was very loose, and they was fucking, you know. So you see pictures like this, you know, this is her in the middle of all these men. That's out of order, you know. That she's in the middle of all these Howard football players, man. And you know all these dudes took a turn on this broad, man, and she didn't care, you know. She was easy, you know, and she liked being that way. And these people are your noble literate. She's a Nobel literate. You got people like I just looked up this one woman, Angela Davis, right? Another so-called black female leader, a feminist, a demon, a so-called Black Panther Party individual, ex-Black Panther Party, all right, leader or activist or whatever, you know. And she was an academic, a notable academic. And this is your leaders. And she was a raging lesbian, man. You know, you got Martin Lucifer the King. This is about to find him. I had him up here. Salaki, just bear with me. Salaki, just bear with me, brothers. I might have thought I had it up here. But anyway, I had Martin Luther King. Yeah, I did have it up there. I might have just erased it. Salakia. Yeah, Martin Luther the King, right? The so-called king. He said what? He feared that he integrated his people into a burning house, which is America, all right? And he was a despot. He was a raging homosexual, bisexual. He was a weirdo. But these are the people that they laud and they hold over you. Like the scripture says, when the wicked are and when the wicked walketh on every side, the vilest men are exalted, man. And that's not just men of Esau, Edom, but even of our people. You know, a lot of these people that you so-called idolize in this society, you worship in this society, you know, to them, they'll just write this off like, oh, I was just young and dumb. But nah, man, these people took these same habits into their adult life, you know, and that's why they champion Esau society. So the vilest people are exalted. Let me get that real quick. Okay. This is the book of Psalms 27:2. When the wicked even Slakia. That's not it. It's when the wicked. Yeah. This is Psalms 12:8. Psalms 12:8 says in the KJV, the wicked walketh on every side when the vilest men are exalted. And that's what you have when you have the most basest people on earth. You know that the wicked is walking on every side, man. You know? And again, these are the people that you hold in high esteem because these people write books. And you know, what's this woman who inspired this lesson? Toni Morrison. Yeah, she wrote a bunch of fiction, sexual fiction. A lot of her books degraded so-called black men. You know what I'm saying? It was all weird and wicked, you know, because it came out of her mind. You know, it came out of her mind. This is Sirach 25:19. All wickedness is but little to that of a woman. Let the portion of the sinner fall upon her. Exactly. You know, I don't care what kind of wickedness you can think of, is but little to the wickedness of a woman because wickedness is inherently in her. She inherently follows that. She ain't holding righteousness. The scripture says, even King Solomon said, out of 1,000 women, I found none that was righteous. But out of 1,000 men, I found one that was righteous. You know? So none of these women are right on this side. You know, especially these women that they hold in high esteem and high regard in the society, like Angela Davis, Toni Morrison. All these men, Martin Luther King, Bayard Rustin. All these people were sodomites, homosexual deviants, all right, holding up Esau's system. They pushed all that Black Panther shit. They got the afro back in the 80s, back in the 70s. They put all that black power bullshit, but that shit was to destroy you. And they brought feminism right behind it. And then they had, before all those, they had what? Integration. They're integrating you into Esau's society. But it's a lot about these people that you don't know. And I always say, these people that you call famous in this world, these leaders, I don't care what background they come from, of Jake in the world, they're the worst of our people. They're some of the worst of our people. They really are. And then they'll look down on the lessers that do the same shit that they was doing. You know? Like she said, Toni said I was a hoe and I loved it. Well, I'll play it. This is what she said right here. Right? She had order, but she wanted to escape that order.
I'd, sit next to no guy, And this woman's language, she took the canon of the written language and she broke it open. She's the Emancipation Proclamation of the English language. Yeah, so they claim that this black bitch gave freedom to the English language. She was a monster, though. You know, she was a celebrated demon. Bitch died at 88. You know, them old wicked bitches, they live forever. They don't drop dead of a heart attack at 40. And these bitches be living well into their late 80s, early 90s, damn near 100s. You know? But she was a monster. All right? She was a smiling demon when she was down here.
Everywhere I've traveled in the world, I go to a bookstore.
Let me skip this. I ain't trying to hear that.
As going to walk just there.
Phenomena. And she speaks to people everywhere.
Yeah, it says
if there's life on
everywhere.
Mars, they're reading Toni Morrison to
yeah, and that's wickedness. If there's life on Mars, they're reading Toni Morrison.
Find out what it is to be human.
To find out what it is to be human. How? None of her books were. It was all fiction. Novels of fiction and bullshit. Right? With interpretations of her life or what she wanted to be. You know, these women, they're idle. They'll sit in a room all day thinking of shit. And this bitch decided to write it on paper. Now these women celebrate her all throughout the world, talking about if there was life on Mars, they'd be reading Toni Morrison, trying to figure out how to be human.
They were so physically strict with us.
Yeah, and you gotta be physically strict with your children, your sons and your daughters, especially over your daughters.
When I was a kid, I mean,
It is to be human.
they were so physically strict with us. When I was a kid, I mean, side eye, sit next to no guy, they were very serious about that.
Yeah, it's called order. It's called order, and that's what Esau destroyed in this society. That's why you Jakes, you don't have that kind of lifestyle no more. You live in a single parent home with the mother, and she let the kids run wild, do whatever they want to do. There's no order. There's no subjection to authority, right? You just breaking out, and you got to keep this. You're gonna see why. I'm gonna stop talking in a second, but you're gonna see why you got to have order. You got to keep a daughter, especially a daughter, in straight ways. You can't allow her to run the world and do what she want to do, because she's going to destroy herself and everybody else behind her.
Phenomena. And she speaks to people everywhere. If there's life on Mars, they're reading Toni Morrison to find out what it is to be human.
They were so physically strict with us. When I was a kid, I mean, side eye, sit next to no guy, they were very serious about that. Particularly with the girls. I don't think they did that with my brothers.
Yeah, you ain't had to do that with the sons. You still got to give them order. But why did they do that with the girls? Well, it tells you this right here. It tells you this right here. What was that? Sirach, chapter 26, verse 10. If thy daughter be shameless, keep her in straitly, lest she abuse herself through overmuch liberty. And you're going to see this exactly happen with Toni Morrison. When women have order in their life, man, they fight against it. They basically, if you want a woman to do something, you got to use reverse psychology on their ass, man. You give them you know what I'm saying? Because if you give them the right way, they're going to go the wrong way. But if you give them the wrong way, then they want to try to do the right thing. Some of them. You got to play these games with these women. We don't have to. You shouldn't have to. And it was the father's role to do this stuff. All right? It was the father's role to be strict over his daughters, man. Especially his daughters. Why? Lest she abuse herself through overmuch liberty. Let's keep reading. Verse 11. Watch over an impudent eye, and marvel not if she trespass against thee. That's right. It says, she will open her mouth as a thirsty traveler when he have found a fountain and drink of every water near her. By every hedge will she sit down and open her quiver against the arrow. That's right. Because she's disobedient. Now let's read this in the Good News Translation, right? It says, verse 10, same precept, Sirach 26 and 10, but in the Good News Translation. It says, if your daughter is determined to have her own way, which that's always these daughters, keep a close watch on her. If you don't, she'll take advantage of any chance she get, right? If she is too self-willed, be on guard and don't be surprised if she disappoints you, right? Because she's going to do that. If she's self-willed, disappointment going to come with that. So you can't be surprised. She'll spread her legs anywhere for any man who wants her, just as a thirsty traveler will drink whatever water is available. And that's what Toni Morrison did. That's what she did. And she's going to tell you to you out of her own mouth.
The younger ones, but with the girls, there was a wonderful place where we could all go and dance down in South Lorraine. My mother walked us there and walked us back. My sister got married out of high school. I didn't. So I was sort of a wild card out there.
Yeah, because her sister got a husband out of high school. That's what they did back in the day. You know, a woman, she got a husband. She ain't go off to college like they doing today. Very few women did that. And when a white woman went up there, she got her husband. You know, but she said she was the wild card.
I really wanted to go to college, to get away from my family since I was 15 or 16.
Yeah, because of that order. She wanted to get away from order. Now, did she take those orderly ways to college and become more orderly? No. You're going to see it.
And you know how families are. They tell you, take off that lipstick, you know, stuff like that. But for me, it was leaving home, as well as going toward a place where I could read.
Trust me. She didn't give a fuck about reading. You can read any damn where. You don't got to go to college to read. But she wanted to be a hoe.
I had an uncle who had gone a year at Ohio State. And I lived very close, like 7 miles from Oberlin. My mother said, okay, we'll go to Oberlin. And I thought, but she's going to call me up. She's going to say, come here and wash these clothes. So I wanted to go.
You see, she ain't want that order. You see, she's running away from order.
Distance. And I knew about Howard, so I applied and went. When I got to Howard, I was loose. It was lovely. I just loved it. I'm sure I overdid it, but...
You see? When she got to Howard University, she was loose. So see, y'all see pictures like this, and y'all think that Jake was all, you know, suited and booted and intellectual. Nah, these niggas was wild. The same thing that they doing today, they was doing back then. They doing the drugs, they was fucking everybody, fucking and sucking, doing that gay shit. All of that, these people are the worst. And she became a fucking Nobel literate, bruh. Everybody had a piece of Toni Morrison in college. She said she was loose. She said when she went to college, look, and she fucked all these niggas. All these niggas got a piece of that ass when she was up in Howard University. That had you thinking that these people are the exemplification of sophistication. Nah, man, these niggas ain't. These niggas was popping each other and popping old girls. She was sucking all of them niggas off, man. All these niggas had a round table on this broad, man.
I was loose. It was lovely.
She said she was loose and it was lovely. And then and you wonder why the generations of women are the way they are today. They read this bitch's books. They read this woman's books and they got inspired by her books. Like old girls said if they was reading books on Mars, they'd be reading Toni Morrison. You know what I mean? Like, that's what they say. She inspired generations with her wickedness, man. With her whoredoms. That's what she did. She inspired generations with her whoredom. You know? And this is the world we live in. This is the world we live in, man. Your leaders, you know? Because like you look at Jake today, the generation today, man, it took time for them to get that way. They went from wearing suits to jeans off their ass, tight as hell, guns poking out and all that other weirdo shit. But they were all doing this weird shit back in the day. It just got progressively worse, especially as the father got taken out of the household and the children were left to their own devices. You see? And Toni Morrison is definitely an example of why you should keep your daughter in straight way, or why you should be strict over your daughters. And now in this world, it backfired because as soon as they leave the house, they're doing whatever. You know, especially, you know, you got to watch out for that daughter that's rushing to get out the house to go somewhere else. Why is she rushing to get away from order? She's trying to run from order, you know, because she's an object of disorder. And also, too, it shows you that your leaders are nothing more than lowlifes, man. That's why Isaiah 9:16 says this: for the leaders of this people cause them to err. She's considered a leader. And they that are led of them are destroyed. In the NLT it says, for the leaders of the people have misled them. They have led them down a path of destruction because people follow after these people. You see, like even Martin Lucifer the King, he said what? He said, I fear I may have integrated my people into a burning house. This is the actual quote from him. He said this. He said this, right? And America is that burning house. America is that destruction. Because all these so-called black leaders, especially back then, they were teaching you to have confidence in America, which is Babylon the Great. And this place is about to be burnt down. Even the Jakes today. They push that American vibration all over the people, thinking that everybody gonna get their chance. Everybody gonna, be an entrepreneur. What other place you can go to? You can have all this liberty to worship and do whatever you want. But guess what? America's being burnt down. You shouldn't want to integrate with a system that, first of all, doesn't even want you in it, integrated in it. It fought the whole way to get you not integrated with it. But the super elite had other plans. And basically they destroyed you by way of these puppet leaders, right? Who sell you lies and dreams, right? Who sell you falsehoods. I had seen a video a minute ago of this dude, Martin Luther King, called himself breaking down Revelation, and he did it totally wrong. He showed you this man wasn't no man of the Lord. Okay, he was a homosexual deviant. They was having orgies and shit. They was doing all that shit. And Toni Morrison was doing that shit in college. Lord knows what they was doing on a march to Washington, man. And then you got people like, what's her face? What's old girl name? Angela Davis, right? Angela Davis. She married a fucking woman. Angela Davis and Gina Dent, right? This is her woman. A professor of feminist studies, man. So all the things that they teach you, let me go back to that, Angela Davis. Yeah. All the stuff that these people will teach you with things to destroy yourself. Yeah, this woman right here, she went from this to this. And then she came out, and then she was an insider. All these people came out of these insiders schools that Esau created, right? Schools of thought to destroy you, man. And she was heavy behind feminism, right? Nigga ain't know nothing about Marxist feministic politics and views until they went to them colleges, them universities, right? Went to them universities, got with Esau. Esau gave them what to do, and they came out here and misled you and destroyed you while destroying themselves. Because she didn't wake up one day and say she was gay. No, she had always been that way. She had always dealt with other women. But it was a time in this country where it wasn't popular to do so. So a lot of the shit these people was doing, they was doing it, hiding it. Right here it says, from 1980 to 83, Davis was married to Hilton Braithwaite. In 1997, she came out as a lesbian in an interview with Out magazine. By 2020, Davis was living openly with her partner and the academic Gina Dent, which I just showed you a picture of, a fellow humanitarian scholar and intersectional feminist researcher. Together, they have advocated for the abolition of police and prisons. Yeah, right. And for black liberation and Palestinian and solidarity. Yeah, it's all bullshit, man. It's all bullshit. These people are these are your leaders. Here's another one. What's that nigga name? Bayard Rustin, another raging homosexual, a super deviant. He used the integration, that whole integration BS with King and the rest of them to ultimately push the gay agenda. That's what he wanted. That was the ultimate end goal. Was to do that. He did it. Right? This dude, he was a raging homosexual. Right here, you go to gay rights. Davis Platt, Bayard's partner from the 1940s, this dude was always a homosexual, said, I never had any sense at all that Bayard felt any shame or guilt about his homosexuality. Does not the scripture says this? They hide it not. They declare their sin as Sodom. But that was only for the insiders to know back then. right? It wasn't for Isaiah 3:9. They show their countenance doth witness against them, and they that declare their sin, and they declare their sin as Sodom, they hide it not. Woe unto them, woe unto their soul, for they have rewarded evil unto themselves. And that's ultimately what this dude Bayard Rustin, Angela Davis, Toni Morrison, all these people, what they were doing was rewarding evil unto themselves, man. You know, you over here holding Esau's system up, pushing his agendas, and then the whole time you're a faggot. That dude Martin Luther King act like he was a family man, and he was a whole demon. He was a whole homosexual demon. And guess what? Bayard Rustin was his right hand man. It says Rustin. It says again, I never had any sense at all that Bayard felt any shame or guilt about his homosexuality. That was rare in those days. Rare. Rustin did not engage in any gay rights activism until the 1980s. I wonder why. He's part of that inside movement, because in the 80s that gay shit really exploded. Like 79, 80s, all through the 80s. He was urged to do so by his partner, Walter Negro, whatever that name is, who has said that I think that if I hadn't been in the office at that time when these invitations from gay organizations came in, he probably wouldn't have done them. Because same-sex marriages was not officially recognized at the time, Rustin and Nigel undertook to solidify their partnership and protect their union legally through adoption. In 1982, Rustin adopted Negro, 30 years old. At that time, Negro explained that Bayard was concerned about protecting my rights because gay people had no protection. At that time, marriage between same-sex couples was inconceivable. And so he adopted me legally. And this dude adopted this guy right here. He adopted an Edomite. He's banging this dude up the ass, sucking him off, doing this wickedness. And then he talking about rights. And they talking about the Lord and all this other stuff, man. These people are deviants, bro. I'm telling you. From your political to your politicians, from your black, Latino, Native American politicians to these actors, actresses, entertainers, athletes. All of these people are the worst people of our people, bro. All of these people are compromised at the highest levels, man. And they ain't pushed an agenda, man. This nigga, he back in the spirit world right now. You know, he gonna feel sorry in the kingdom, man. He gonna be with his head down. You know what I'm saying? This dude was out of order. Yeah, there's a documentary. The brother Aria All had showed me this. I didn't watch the documentary, but they got a documentary with this dude, Bayard Rustin, brother outsider, the life of Bayard Rustin. So now they made this nigga some type of fucking folklore hero. You know, him hanging with a young Martin Luther King. You think he wasn't doing that shit to him? You know, he couldn't wait to get this dude in the bed and break him off. You know, he getting to ride around in Rolls Royces with Edomites that he's popping in the ass, and then he getting popped off. These are your leaders, man. These are your leaders, and that's why it's no surprise that the nigga Diddy is being outed. You know, they making a big deal about it, but everybody know that nigga been down like that. Everybody know that's how that nigga been getting down. He got rich. This dude got rich. Bayard and Me, a film by Matt Wolf. This dude got rich off of the backs and wickedness that he pushed, and off of the backs of the children of Israel. People were put to death. He got to walk off into the sunset. You know. So I just wanted to bring this out, man. Yeah, man, these old school leaders, man, they ain't no better than the new ones. And so down, say shalom, on to the next.